It's already done. The girl is buried. The Tesla is impounded. And the only person screaming the truth got muted by a phone in your pocket. Now listen to me, because what I'm about to walk you through is not the David story you've already seen. This is not the parking lot story. This is not the chicken tender story. This is not even the courtroom story. This is the story underneath the story. The one nobody wanted you to find. The one that was sitting in plain sight for 391 days while a 13-year-old girl was being passed around like a secret. And the very platforms you open at 2 a.m. were the ones holding the door shut. For warnings. For humans. For timestamps. For buried sirens. And by the time the world hit play, her body was already cold in the trunk of a Tesla in Lake Elsinore, California. Sit up. Lean in. Phone down. Because the co-conspirator in this case is not a person. It's a swipe. Let me show you what I mean. Cast your mind back to that parking lot photograph. You've seen it. Everybody's seen it. The lot in Lake Elsinore. David standing there in broad daylight, not in a hat, not in shades, not in any kind of disguise, handing a paper bag with a flat rectangular shape inside of it to a pair of kids who barely look old enough to drive. The internet looked at that picture for months and told you one single story. Hush money. Payoff. Cover up. Done. Move on. Easy villain, easy headline, easy scroll. Except, and I cannot stress this enough, the internet was wrong. Or, to be a little more generous, the internet was lazy. Because once a few people, the right people, the stubborn people, the receipts-pulling people started digging into the metadata, the deleted TikToks, the Discord backups, the comment sections that got buried under engagement bait, an entirely different image emerged out of that same photograph. And that image is not just darker. That image is damning. Because what you are actually looking at is not the moment of a crime. You are looking at the moment the warning system collapsed. The moment the alarm went off. The moment the smoke alarm in the kitchen started screaming, and every single adult in the house with the power to hear it had headphones in. And here is the part that I want stapled to your forehead before we go a single line further. The next victim is, statistically speaking, already in a Discord server tonight. Already in a DM. Already in a Roblox lobby. Already laughing at a voice that lies about its age. And the same machine that buried Celeste's warnings is currently boosting her abuser's playlist into the top 5. So let me back up and walk you through who screamed when they screamed, and how the machine swallowed every single scream. The first siren has a name. Ponzalo. Ponzalo. Remember that name. Because Ponzalo is the kid I broke down in my last drop, and Ponzalo is the kid who, in his own words in David's own Discord server in front of David's own paying fans, called him a PDF file. He used those 3 letters capital in all caps in plain English. He typed it once, he typed it twice, he typed it a 3rd time. He even trolled David directly in the most insane way possible. David, oblivious as ever, came into his own community whining about being in a quote song crisis, asking the fans what he should drop next, begging for engagement like a low-tier streamer. And Ponzalo, sitting right there in the chat, typed back, and I want you to read this with your own eyes, drop the song about the missing girl Celeste Rivas Hernandez. That message is dated August 16, 2024. 8 months before her body was found in the trunk. 8 months before the world even knew her name. Ponzalo was screaming into David's own house, in front of David's own fans, and the message just sat there. Read. Acknowledged by nobody. Boosted by nothing. Buried by an algorithm that doesn't know morality but absolutely knows momentum, and that message had none. Pause on that. Because that is not gossip. That is not a hot take. That is a kid using a celebrity's home turf to publicly accuse him of grooming a missing child. And the platform did the equivalent of a librarian putting a finger to her lips and shelving the warning in the back of the basement. Now siren number 2. Older. February 26, 2024. 12 days after Celeste went missing for the first time, on Valentine's Day. A real user with a real handle, Robin River. Robin River drops a comment under one of David's own public videos. Not a DM, not a private message, a public comment. And Robin River types in plain English with their full username attached, quote, waiting for the LAPD to get you for messing with this girl. End quote. Read it. Read it twice. Read it 3 times. Because that is not a troll. That is not a hater. That is somebody from David's orbit, somebody from the same circle, somebody who knew before the world knew that David and Celeste were linked. And Robin River put that comment up there like a flare gun in the sky over a small California town. And the algorithm looked at the flare, decided it wasn't entertaining enough, and let the night swallow it whole. Siren 3. December 14th, 2024. Enter Ethan. Shout out, by the way, eternal shout out to my guy Big R, the digital archivist of this entire saga, the one who pulled the backups before they got nuked, because Ethan's TikTok did not survive the algorithm even one full lunar cycle. Before it got deleted, Ethan filmed something so prophetic it makes the hair on your neck stand up. Ethan looked dead into his camera. He played David's own song in the background. The song is literally called Here With Me. And Ethan said, quote, popular artist got caught giving thousands of dollars to kids. Now why did he do this? To hide his little secret of him dating a minor. End quote. He said it once. He said it twice. He dropped the receipt. He showed the screenshot of David in the parking lot with the Cane's bag in his hand. And the algorithm, in its infinite robotic wisdom, let that video sit at 100 likes and then quietly, surgically throttled the oxygen out of it. He posted it again. On Instagram. On a second TikTok. On a third account. Same ceiling. Same silence. Same 100 likes. You know what was trending in December 2024 instead? Christmas tree shake reels. Get ready with me's. Mistletoe pranks. A boyfriend of the year tag. A literal smoking gun warning about a celebrity allegedly grooming a missing 13-year-old got buried under a girl explaining how she layers her concealer under her eyes. Sit with that. Burn it into your retinas. 3 sirens. 3 platforms. 3 different people. 1 identical pattern. And here is where the air leaves the room because once is an accident. Twice is a coincidence. 3 times is policy. And we are sitting at 3 confirmed, time-stamped, evidence-backed sirens posted across an 11-month window, all pointing at the same man, all saying the same thing, all buried by the same invisible hand. So my question to you, the only question that matters tonight is this. If the algorithm is supposed to give the people what they want, and the people clearly wanted these warnings because every single time they resurface they trend, why didn't they trend the first time? Why did the engine of virality only kick on after the girl was already dead? The answer is uncomfortable. The answer is that the engine of virality is not designed for warnings. It is designed for spectacle. And a kid in his bedroom whispering a truth about a famous man is not spectacle. It is signal. And the algorithm has been trained deliberately, deeply, religiously to recognize signal as noise. Read that line again. The algorithm has been trained to recognize signal as noise. Now take a sip. Crack your neck. Because we are going clinical and I need you locked in. Because there is a tiny detail buried inside Ethan's interview with Zovgirl, the YouTuber who actually sat him down on a Zoom call, that almost nobody is talking about. Ethan said verbatim that when he first uploaded the TikTok it got likes for about a day. And then the likes just stopped. Cold. Like somebody flipped a switch. The video was not reported. The video was not demonetized. The video did not even get a community guidelines strike. The video was just quietly, invisibly, surgically throttled. And I want you to memorize that word because that word is the entire case. Throttling. Shadow suppression. When a platform doesn't take a video down, because taking it down creates a paper trail, but instead just turns the oxygen knob until the video suffocates in the dark. The algorithm did not need to delete Ethan. The algorithm just needed to make sure nobody saw him. And it worked. It worked so perfectly that he posted it 3 more times on 3 more accounts on 2 more platforms, and every single time the same ceiling, the same silence, the same 100 likes. Tell me that's normal. Tell me that with a straight face. Look me in the camera and tell me that is what happens to a video about a girl missing concealer. Now, here's where Ponzalo gets weirder. Because Ponzalo is in 2 roles in this story simultaneously, and almost nobody has connected the dots on this, so pay close attention. Role number 1. Ponzalo is the truth teller. He is the kid who screamed PDF file in capital letters in David's own server. He is the kid who, according to Ethan, showed Ethan the parking lot photograph in the car one afternoon at school and said the words, "Yo, you know David is dating a minor, right?" Role number 2, however, is the role that flips the entire room. Because after Celeste's body was found, after the police started knocking, after the news cycle exploded, Ponzalo got cold feet. Suddenly Ponzalo was not the truth teller. Suddenly Ponzalo was the eraser. He sent Ethan a panic stream of messages. Those messages got leaked. I want you to read them with me. Word for word. Ponzalo writes, quote, "Dude, please, you don't know how bad this is." End quote. Ethan answers, explain. Ponzalo says, quote, "This was a secret. It wasn't supposed to get out. David didn't know how old the girl was. She was lying. She said she was 19. He's only 20. The second he found out, he took her home." End quote. And then the line that should make your stomach hit the floor. Ponzalo says, quote, "Since we were dumb kids, we tried to blackmail him. And we really messed up." End quote. We blackmailed him. We, plural. That is a confession of being in the parking lot. That is a confession of being on the receiving end of that Cane's bag. That is a confession of being one of the kids in that photograph. And then in the very next breath, Ponzalo begs Ethan to take the TikTok down. He says if you keep that video up, you could ruin David's life over nothing because the girl lied. And you could ruin my life, because David would know I leaked it. And I could go to jail for slandering him. End quote. And Ethan, freshman in high school, brave kid, brave kid, types back 6 words that this whole case rests on. What's done in the dark always comes to light. End message. And Ponzalo blocks him. On every platform. Instagram gone. TikTok gone. Snapchat gone. Vanished. Now stop. Don't gloss over what just happened, because Ponzalo in those leaked messages is simultaneously the source of the warning and the suppressor of the warning. He is the kid who lit the match and the kid who tried to stomp out the fire. Why? Why would the same human being do both? Here is my theory, and this is the part one haven't seen anybody else articulate, so I'm planting my flag here. Ponzalo was on the payroll. Not officially. Not formally. There is no W-2. But the second that Kane's bag changed hands in that parking lot, Ponzalo became financially compromised. He had $1,000 in his pocket. He had a phone in his hand. He had the burden of knowing what that money was for. And the second Celeste was confirmed dead, the second the police started knocking, Ponzalo flipped from whistleblower to whitewasher in the span of one news cycle. That is not coincidence. That is not malice. That is what blood money does to a teenager who is not equipped to carry it. And the algorithm, the same algorithm that buried Ethan and Robin River in Ponzalo's own Discord screams, made sure nobody saw any of those contradictions in real time. Always in retrospect. Never in time. Are you feeling the weight yet? Because we are barely halfway in. Let me drop another receipt because in the Zovgirl interview, Ethan casually mentioned something nobody has fully processed. Ponzalo told Ethan that David also brought Raising Cane's, as in the actual chicken finger restaurant, a bag of chicken tenders, along with the cash, along with the phone. He pulled up to that parking lot like he was running a Friday night fast food drop, except the side order was a kid's silence. And when Zovgirl zooms into the picture, you see it. You see David's hand. You see the bag. You see something flat and rectangular peeking out. You see the Tesla in the background. The same Tesla. The same exact Tesla that her body would later be found inside. The most photographed car in true crime in the last decade is sitting in the back of that picture like a coffin in waiting. And David is standing in front of it handing out tenders and hush money like it's a Tuesday. And the algorithm capped that picture at 100 likes. Let me forensically pull that photo apart for a second because the deeper you look, the worse it gets. David is in broad daylight. No hat. No shades. No disguise. No alibi setup. Why? Because he felt protected. He felt invulnerable. He felt like the platforms were going to swallow whatever evidence hit social media before it could land. And he was right. Somebody, possibly Ponzalo, possibly Ponzalo's friend, possibly a third kid we haven't even identified yet, lifted a phone, snapped the shot, and that photo sat dormant on a camera roll for months before it ever saw the internet. Months. That photo lived in private custody for an entire chunk of Celeste's last living year. Could have hit a tip line. Could have hit a counselor. It could have hit a detective's desk. It did not. It sat. And the kid holding it was making the only calculation kids in this country are taught to make anymore. Was the truth worth the trouble? And the algorithm in his pocket was busy training him, training all of us, that the truth is never worth the trouble unless it goes viral. And if it doesn't go viral, it never even happened. So now you know about Ponzalo. You know about Ethan. You know about Robin River. 3 sirens. 3 throttled, suppressed, ignored sirens. But there is a 4th. And the 4th siren is the one that hurts the most because the 4th siren is us. You. Me. Everybody who saw a weird comment under a David song and scrolled. Everybody who saw a sketchy TikTok land on their For You page and said, conspiracy stuff, swipe. Everybody who saw Ponzalo's Discord rants and said, just another fan crashing out. We are the 4th siren. And we failed. Not because we are bad people. Not because we don't care. But because the algorithm trained us. The algorithm trained us to treat warnings as noise. The algorithm trained us to treat outrage as content. The algorithm trained us to scroll past anything that didn't have a viral hook attached. So when an actual life or death warning hit our feed, we filed it under conspiracy, kept scrolling, and a girl died. And on Ethan's resurfaced TikTok, in the comment section, you can read it for yourself. Strangers admitting on the record in writing, quote, "If I had seen this at the time, I would have dismissed it as a weird conspiracy post." End quote. Read that twice. People are confessing that the warning would not have worked even if they had seen it. Because the algorithm has rewired our brains to recognize signal as noise. And the predators who hunt on these platforms know it. David knew it. I'm almost positive David knew it. Because look at how he operated. Discord, TikTok, Roblox, Fortnite. whatever the kids were on that week. He moved like a man who understood that the platforms would protect him by default. Not by conspiracy, not by malice, by design, by the simple, ugly, profit-driven fact that warnings don't get watch time, but his songs did. And while we are here, let me drop a name Ethan tossed out almost as a sidebar. Neil. Ethan said Neil knew. He said David's brother knew. He said David's father knew. He said the inner circle, the family, the management, the team that came in to clean up, all of them were aware. He admits he has no hard proof, but the casualness of how he says it is what hits. Because in the world of David, there was a ring. There was Rob. There was the manager. There was the producer. There was the publicist. There was what I have been calling Team Rocket, the Pokemon named Flying V of enablers who circled around David and kept the optics pristine while the backroom stayed disgusting. And the algorithm sat on top of that whole apparatus like a security blanket, smothering every voice that tried to crack it open. And while we are stacking the inner circle, let me add a fresh layer that has started bubbling up in the last 72 hours, because the digital community is doing what the platforms refuse to do. There is a rumor, unconfirmed but circulating in multiple Discord servers tonight, that one of David's frequent collaborators, a producer whose initials show up on at least 4 of his unreleased session leaks, deleted his entire SoundCloud catalog in the same 48-hour window that the Tesla story went mainstream. The same 48 hours. Coincidence? Maybe. But in this story, coincidences have stopped existing. Every time somebody adjacent to David tries to scrub a trace, my main man Big R is right there with the backup. Big R's hard drive at this point is basically a federal exhibit waiting to be subpoenaed. And the fact that an entire SoundCloud account vanishes the exact same week the autopsy details hit national news tells you everything you need to know about how many people in that orbit are watching the door and timing their exits. Watch that name when it drops. Book it. Jot it down. Pin it. Here is one more piece of evidence almost nobody is highlighting. Zovgirl asked Ethan a direct question. Did David's people threaten you? Did anybody DM you? Did you suspect alt accounts were trying to silence you? And Ethan said no. Nobody threatened him. Nobody messaged him. Nobody contacted him. He just got, in his own words, no traction. The algorithm did the silencing for them. For free. Automatically. In the background. While David's people slept. That is the most efficient cover-up in human history. And it is happening every single day in your pocket on your phone, while you scroll through 15-second clips of cats falling off counters. Let that one breathe. Now let me bring it back to Celeste. Because this entire story, every line, every receipt, every screenshot is about her. Don't let me forget her name. Don't let yourself forget her face. Celeste Rivas Hernandez. 13 years old. A middle school girl. She had friends. She had family. She had a normal kid's life. And then a 20-year-old artist with money, with influence, with a Discord, with a Tesla, with a mansion, with a second house, with a manager and a publicist and a team, allegedly slid into her DMs. Allegedly through Roblox. Allegedly through Fortnite. The very same games your parents tell themselves are safe because the graphics look cartoonish. He isolated her. He bought her phones. He paid off her classmates. He drove out to Lake Elsinore in person to make sure the secret stayed in the dark. Valentine's Day 2024. She went missing the first time. She came home a week later. And during that exact week, while her parents were filing missing person reports and her mother was calling the police and her father was driving every back road in Riverside County, David was filming Valentine's content at his second house with another girl in his mansion. 2 houses. 2 girls. 1 predator. And the algorithm was busy pushing recipe reels and gym selfies. And about Valentine's Day, slow down with me for a second because there is a clip from that exact day that I do not think people have fully reckoned with. It is one of David's own videos. Filmed at the 804 North Doheny Place house. Not the mansion. The second house. The bed in the background matches. The lamp on the nightstand matches. The picture frames on the wall match. All of it perfectly aligned with photographs of that property that other investigators have already confirmed. And in that video there is a voice. A girl's voice. A young voice. A voice saying, "Oh my God, did you actually do this?" A voice that is excited and shy and pitched up like she is trying to disguise it on purpose. Some of you who remember being a teenage girl on the internet, you know that little trick. You used to do it too. And that voice, that exact voice, time-stamped on Valentine's Day, lines up with the exact day Celeste's parents reported her missing for the first time. By any reasonable detective work, that is her voice. And if it is her voice, that means David was filming her, recording her, posting her, and publishing her audio to his fans on the day she vanished from her family. On the day her mother was on the phone with the police. On that day, her voice ended up uploaded to the very same algorithm we are talking about, and that algorithm did absolutely nothing. No facial recognition match. No voice match. No flag for a minor's voice being broadcast on an adult's account. Nothing. The system that supposedly knows your face, your voice, your purchase history, your political beliefs, your sleep patterns, did not flag the voice of a missing 13-year-old writing on the audio of a 20-year-old man with a Tesla. Tell me again how the platforms are doing everything they can. You feel it now? The villain in this story is not a single person. The villain in this story is a system. And the system has a name. Engagement-based ranking. Because the warnings did not have the right hook. They did not have the right thumbnail. They did not have the right caption. They did not have the right beat behind them. They were just scared kids posting from a bedroom trying to do the right thing. And the algorithm looked at them and said, sorry, swipe. And meanwhile, the predator's content, his songs, his Discord drama, his merch, his clout, his engagement-friendly chaos, that stuff was getting boosted into oblivion. Why? Because it made you click. Because it made you stay. Because it made you share. The algorithm doesn't know morality. The algorithm only knows watch time. And David, with his songs and his fans and his concerts and his loud scandal-adjacent persona, was watch time. The kids exposing him were not. Game over. Now go back to Robin River. We haven't sat in this one long enough. Robin River commented on February 26, 2024. 12 days after Valentine's Day. 12 days after Celeste vanished for the first time. So whoever Robin River is, that person knew before the world knew that David and Celeste were connected. That is somebody from the Discord. That is somebody from the school. That is somebody from one of David's parties. Somebody who saw something with their own two eyes and decided to type out a warning in public on David's video, with their full username attached, and hit post. That is not a troll. That is a witness. And the algorithm, instead of bumping that comment to the top, instead of trending the conversation, instead of even flagging it for a human moderator, treated it like background noise. Just another rude comment in a sea of rude comments. And it died. Until somebody months later screenshotted it and made it viral in retrospect. Always in retrospect. That word is the most painful word in this entire case. Retrospect. Everything is obvious in retrospect. Everything is screaming in retrospect. Everything is a 5-alarm fire in retrospect. But in the moment when it could have actually saved her life, it was nothing. It was noise. It was scroll fodder. It was content. And that is the indictment. That is the verdict. The algorithm killed Celeste just as much as David did, because the algorithm had 4 chances for separate, distinct, time-stamped, evidence-backed chances to interrupt the cycle, and it took 0 of them. 0 out of 4. Perfect failure. A flawless suppression. A textbook example of how the modern attention economy launders predators in plain sight. Take a breath. We are bringing this in for the landing, and I need you locked in for the final stretch. So what do we do with this? What do we do with the fact that the warning system is broken? What do we do with the fact that the next Celeste is, statistically, already in a Discord server tonight, talking to a man who lied about his age, getting groomed in plain sight while the algorithm rewards her abuser with more reach? What do we do with the fact that the next Ponzalo is sitting in a chat right now, typing out a warning, and that warning is going to die at 100 likes? Because saying trust your gut is not enough anymore. Saying if you see something, say something is not enough anymore, because the system is engineered to bury what you say. You can say it. The platform will swallow it. So here is the answer, and it is uncomfortable. We, the audience, have to become the algorithm. We have to retrain ourselves to stop treating warnings as conspiracy bait. We have to retrain ourselves to take a 5-second comment seriously. We have to share the unviral. We have to boost the unboosted. We have to comment on the comments the algorithm wants to bury. Because if we don't, the next time a 13-year-old goes missing and her body ends up in a trunk, we are going to find out, in retrospect, that this time there were 5 sirens. And then 6. And then 7. The pattern escalates until we choose, individually, to break it. That is the thesis. That is the unique angle. That is why this case matters beyond David. Because David is going to face justice. The evidence is mountainous. The witnesses are stacking. The autopsy, the chainsaws, the Tesla, the phones, the texts, the Discord logs, the voice match, all of it is going to land in a courtroom, and David is going to be looking at life in prison or worse. I will pop the non-alcoholic champagne when that day comes. But David being convicted does not fix the system that let him operate for as long as he operated. David in a cell does not unbury Ethan's TikTok. David in a cell does not retroactively trend Ponzalo's Discord screams. David in a cell does not push Robin River's comment to the front page on the right day. The system stays broken even after the predator is removed. And that is what we have to grapple with. Let me honor the people who tried. Big shout out to Ethan for posting that TikTok as a freshman in high school. Big shout out to Ponzalo, even with the contradictions, even with the cold feet, Because in August of 2024, he typed the truth into a server in front of the predator himself and hit send. Big shout out to Robin River, whoever you are, for that comment in February. Big shout out to Zovgirl, for sitting Ethan down on Zoom and pulling that testimony out of him for the record. Big shout out to Chandler, the friend Ethan referenced, who edited the videos and surfaced the messages. Big shout out to my main man Big R, the digital archivist, the keeper of receipts, the guy who pulls the screenshots before they vanish into the algorithmic compost bin. We need a Big R in every fandom. We need a Big R for every predator. Because the algorithm is going to keep trying to disappear the evidence, and Big R is the antidote. Let me put a number on it because numbers do not lie. 1 Robin River comment on a public video. Multiple Ponzalo Discord posts across multiple months. 1 Ethan TikTok at 100 likes. 1 backup. 1 Zovgirl interview. 1 screenshot that finally went viral after the funeral. Add those up. That is the receipt log. That is the math of the missed save. That is the audit trail of a system that had everything it needed in writing, on camera, in screen grabs with timestamps, and still let a child slip through. If a bank had this much evidence of fraud, the fraud would have been stopped on day 1. If a hospital had this much evidence of malpractice, the doctor would have been suspended on day 1. But because the evidence was social media evidence, served to the platforms on a silver platter, the response was a shrug, a swipe, and a 100-like ceiling. Burn that into your brain. Burn it in there forever. And let me drop one fresh angle nobody else has been brave enough to say out loud. Because in the last week, since the autopsy details started leaking, 3 different anonymous accounts have started dimming other gossip channels, including this one, claiming to be former members of David's Discord moderation team. 3. Not 1. 3. All telling slightly different versions of the same story, that the mods were instructed verbatim to delete any post that mentioned, quote, the missing girl situation. Not by David personally, by a middle layer, by a manager, by an assistant, by somebody whose job it was to make sure the floor stayed clean while the basement got dirty. Those messages, those instructions are sitting in screenshots that one of my sources says are about to drop next week. I am not breaking that story tonight. I am not the leak, but I am telling you to watch for it. Because when those mod channel screenshots hit the internet, the entire conversation flips from algorithmic neglect to coordinated suppression. And that is a felony level difference. That is no longer a story about a machine that failed. That is a story about people who used the machine. Pin that. Save it. Come back to this video when the screenshots drop and tell me I called it. And while I'm dropping angles nobody else is connecting, let me put one more thread on the wall. The timing of David's last single release. Look at the upload dates. Look at the Chartbait promo cycle. Look at when the publicists pushed the playlist placements. Then overlay that timeline against the dates the police were quietly contacting people in the Lake Elsinore area. The 2 timelines are not just close. They are surgically synced. Every time the investigation got loud, a new song dropped. Every time a witness was contacted, a new merch line went up. Every time a search warrant got executed, a new behind-the-scenes vlog hit the feed. That is not a coincidence. That is a publicity strategy. That is a man using the algorithm not just as a shield but as a smoke machine, dumping engagement bait into the feed to bury the harder questions. And the algorithm, the dumb, beautiful, obedient machine that it is, complied every single time. Watch time over warnings. Spectacle over signal. Always. Without exception. Until we make it stop. And to Celeste's family. I am so sorry. I am so deeply sorry. You did everything right. You filed the reports. You called the police. You tried to bring her home. And the platforms, the algorithm, the influencer apparatus, the music industry, the enablers, the fans, the fake defense team, all of it conspired in their own little ways to keep her hidden. None of that is your fault. None of that is on you. You are not the failure here. The failure is structural. The failure is technological. The failure is cultural. And I am going to keep saying that in every video until somebody with the power to fix it starts listening. I have to land this. So I will leave you with one image. One sentence. One receipt. At the end of the Zovgirl interview, when Ethan was asked what he wished he had done differently, Ethan went quiet. Real quiet. And then he said, almost in a whisper, I wish I had been closer with Ponzalo. I wish I had been able to convince him to speak up too, because if we both had, somebody might have listened. That line is devastating. Because Ethan, at his age, already learned the lesson most adults refuse to learn. One voice in the void is not enough. The algorithm requires a chorus. You can be right and brave and on the record and still get swallowed if nobody is standing next to you. And he is going to carry that for the rest of his life. It is not fair. It is not fair that a freshman in high school has to be the one carrying the moral weight that billion-dollar platforms refuse to carry. So the villain is not just David. The villain is not just Ponzalo's cold feet. The villain is not just Team Rocket. The villain is the system that buries the truth and trends the lie. The villain is the recommendation engine that decided 100 likes was the ceiling for a video that could have saved a child's life. The villain is the engagement metric that punishes warnings and rewards spectacle. The villain is, in the most literal sense, the air you and I are breathing every time we open one of these apps. And if we want this to stop, we have to start treating the algorithm not like a feature but like a defendant. Name it. Blame it. Demand the platforms answer for what they bury, not just what they amplify. Until then, every Celeste is one swipe away. Every Ponzalo is one Discord post away. Every Ethan is one TikTok away. And the algorithm is going to keep muting until somebody finally screams loud enough to break through. And then, only then, when the body is already in the trunk and the world is already crying, the algorithm decides, oh okay, maybe this matters now, let me push it to the front page. Too late. Always too late. We deserve better. Celeste deserved better. Every kid in every Discord deserves better. And until the platforms answer, I am going to keep saying her name. Celeste Rivas Hernandez. 13 years old. Lake Elsinore, California. Killed in part by a man, in part by a system, in part by all of us who scrolled past the warnings. Rest in peace to her. Justice is coming slowly, but it is coming. And when it gets here, I want every single person watching this to remember that the warning signs were always there. We just had to know where to look. Now we know. So next time when you see a weird comment, when you see a strange TikTok, when you see a kid in a Discord screaming into the void about somebody famous, do not scroll past. Stop. Read. Screenshot. Share. Amplify. Be the algorithm the platforms refuse to be. Because somewhere out there right now another siren is going off. And if you can hear it, you are responsible for it. That is the lesson. That is the takeaway. That is the only thing I want you to walk away with tonight. Because I'll be honest. I'm tired. I'm tired of covering these cases in retrospect. I'm tired of finding out after the fact that everybody knew. I'm tired of the screenshots resurfacing 6 months too late. I'm tired of the deleted TikToks getting backed up by Big R and going viral in a graveyard. I want one of these warnings, just one, to trend before the funeral instead of after. That is the bar. That is the dream. That is what we are fighting for. Book it. Jot it down. Pin it. Because we are coming for the system next, not just the man. And one last thing, because I cannot end this video without saying it. The reason I keep pulling on this thread, the reason I keep dragging the algorithm into the same frame as the predator, is because every single one of you watching this has, at some point, scrolled past a warning. I have done it too. I am not above it. None of us are. The whole point of this case is that the system is engineered to make all of us complicit by default, and the only way out is to make a conscious, repeated, almost annoying habit of stopping when something feels wrong. Stop. Read. Screenshot. Send to a friend. Tag the channel. Because the next siren is already buffering, and the algorithm is already deciding whether to throttle it. Do not let it. So if you made it this far, hit the like. Drop a comment with the name of the platform you think is most responsible for this. Smash subscribe if you are not already. Pray for justice. Pray for Celeste. Pray for the next kid in the Discord. And remember, what's done in the dark always comes to light. Ethan said it first. I'm just repeating it. Peace.